Welcome to my player interview with the Forehand Queen, otherwise known as Gemma Southwick. This interview is all about Gemma's current university experience in Hickory, North Carolina. I'd like to introduce Gemma's top successes before we start. So in her freshman year, she got first team singles and second team doubles in the South Atlantic Conference. Gemma became nationally ranked in doubles. And in her sophomore year, her season was cut short, but she achieved Player of the Week twice in a row, became regionally ranked 6 in doubles and 8 in singles. Just to note, she was the highest ranked in the South Atlantic Conference. And Team Lenore Ryan earned a top 25 national ranking. And now it's time for the questions. So, Gemma, can you describe your tennis schedule for us?
So my tennis schedule includes, so we have a team practice every single day, a lifting session, so weights, and a conditioning session too, and then also a individual lesson as well, so that's around 4 things throughout the day, and then you have classes on top of that as well and homework. So it's a pretty hectic day. Yeah.
Nice. And anything to do with the matches when they're usually scheduled in, or?
So our season is in the spring. So they runs from around February to May. And once season starts kicking off, it's around 2 matches a week. So you have practice in between then, and then a match, and then practice, and then another match. So it's pretty full on when season gets started.
Busy. Second one, how has your game developed while playing college tennis?
So I'd say my game has developed massively, actually. Before going to college, I was really an aggressive player, like to use the forehand a lot, which I still do. But I was always told I need to build the point more, and I always knew I needed to build the point more before going for that aggressive shot. But I'd never actually been physically made to actually do it. And coming to college has just I've had to adapt really quickly. All the players just make balls, make balls. So I've had to adapt quickly to that, and I've become a much more defensive from the back, grinding a lot, just making the ball. And obviously, I've still got my aggressiveness in my game, and when I get that short ball, I do go for it. But I've definitely developed a lot from the back, grinding, making balls, and I've just learned you just have to make balls, and if you make balls, you're going to win the match, really. So I've been sort of forced to change my game, and I never thought I'd enjoy playing like this. But after adapting and changing my game style to a bit more defensive and just making the ball, I'm actually really enjoying playing like this. And then when I do get that short ball, I can finish the point off that one, and I've done everything I needed in the point.
Yeah, I remember when we obviously used to train together when we were obviously younger. It was always quite intimidating once for me personally, hit the ball to your forehand side, because it was either going to be, a make or break moment. I'm either going to be winning the point because you've made the error. I haven't really won it myself, or, you've hit a screaming winner past me. So to see you kind of use that strength to your advantage and kind of like at the right time, sounds good. And obviously you start to win more points. You start to kind of trust making that strength in specific scenarios.
Yeah, definitely. Because when I used to go on for a match before I came to college tennis, it'd be if my forehand's not working today, I'm probably not going to win the match, because I would just go for that ball way too early. Now I know that I'm just going to grind from the back, and I'm just going to make balls. And if I get that obvious shot where I'm not going to miss it, I'm going to go for it. So I have so much more confidence in myself now. It's not, is my forehand working today? Is it not? Because I know I'm just going to make balls from the back.
Mm-hmm. And I think I realised that massively on court, not necessarily just listening it from you off court. But that first time when we stepped on to practice, when you were back over here in London, I could see the difference. So much more patience from the back, but again, maintaining the quality from the back and creating that, mid-court short ball opportunity. And finish the point, build the point, come to the net, that sort of thing. But yeah, I could clearly see it. when we were hitting from the back, the different kind of ball you were sending back, and when we played in the points as well. So that was, yeah, it was quite obvious as well on court. Cool. Let's move on to the third question then. How do you balance your academics and practice? And is this difficult?
Yeah, I would say it is very difficult, actually. I think it's more difficult when you first get here because you don't really know how much you're going to be practicing, how much schoolwork you're going to get, really. But I think it's just planning ahead. And as you get deeper into the process, I think you get a lot better at it as well. I think making sure you get your academics done first and ahead of the game is super important because when you go to practice, you don't need to be worrying, when's this assignment due, when's this homework due. You need to put your full effort into practice. And especially in season, you need to be well ahead of the game because you've got practice and matches to be thinking about. You're going to be missing classes for matches. So I think when you first get here, it is a bit of a shock because you do have a lot of work, you have a lot of different classes. But I think it's just making sure you plan ahead really and get a little bit ahead of the game with your academics, which I make a to-do list, which helps me a lot. Make sure I get everything done as soon as possible so then I can focus on my tennis because even though you're a tennis player here, academics does come first and you need to get them homework and assignments done before you can get on the court and play, really.
Because it's, don't they class you or categorize you as a student athlete? So the
Yeah.
student first and the athlete second.
Yeah.
And obviously you were, told that before you went out and
Yeah, definitely. So you need to keep your academics up to be able to even be eligible to play. So the academics does come first. So if you stay on top of that and get ahead of that, then tennis comes next.
And I guess I know it's going slightly off topic, but like for juniors all over the world, obviously here, when they're at school, like when we were at school, homework and schoolwork always had to come first, not putting all your eggs in one basket. So I guess that, it really shows when you get to like the stage in your life now that the academics, the education is still, the most important,
Yeah,
especially in
definitely.
the sport of tennis. As we know, you're not going to be a player for your entire life, so you've got to have something to back it up, or if there was an injury of some sort. But I guess you come out with both. You come out with two things at the end of your time, right?
Yeah, definitely.
A degree and some good play. Yeah. And you said it was difficult.
I think at the start it is, but once you start getting a rhythm of your class schedule and your practice schedule, it starts to become more of a routine. But I think maybe when you first get here, you don't really know what to expect. You don't know how much you're going to be practicing. You don't know how much you're going to get from your classes. And also every semester your classes change. So the workload is going to be different every different class you take.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Let's move on to the next one. So, do you have time for social events between playing tennis and studying?
Yeah, definitely. I think now with COVID, obviously, it's a lot different. You can't socialize as much as we probably did in the past. But I think, like, if you get ahead of your academics and obviously practice is at a specific time, you're going to have them evenings to socialize and you're going to have the weekends to socialize. And I think that's a big part of coming to college, really. You make so many new friends from all over the world, not even just from America. You make friends everywhere. And I think the social part is a big part of coming to college.
Have you got any examples, like obviously before COVID, because you were there before all this was going on, but any examples of the social events that you attended, or like things that you've done over there that may be different to being in London or just in general?
Yeah, when I first got here, actually freshman year, we did a mountain retreat with the whole team. And I think things like that are great for like team bonding because when you're with your team, you're probably mostly on the court and you just see each other on the court. So I think it's really important to go off the court with the team and get to know each other away from tennis. So you know each other personally, and then you actually end up probably having a better relationship on the court as well because you know what everybody's like off the court. So I think going to social events like mountain retreats, like going out for dinner, bowling, like cinema, just stuff away from tennis with your teammates is really important, because then you get to know them on a different level.
Definitely. Yeah. And I think even over here, when we're at tournaments or, finished training, going out for dinner, that sort of stuff, or bowling, cinema, there's so many. They can be your friends. They don't just have to be your enemies or your opponents on the court, but they can be friends for life. And I'm sure your teammates, you'll probably stay in contact with once your experience is finished.
Definitely.
Cool. Let's move on to the fifth question then. What is the best part of being on the team?
I think the best part of being on a team is you become like a family. So tennis is a very international sport. So most of us are all away from home. We're very far away from home. So I think when you become on to a team, you all are in the same situation and you become like a second family. So everybody's got your back on the team. And I think on the court, tennis is such an individual sport. So when you come to college tennis and you get onto a team, you stop winning for yourself and you start winning for the team. So when I'm on the court, I'm not really thinking about me or am I going to win this match? I'm thinking I've got to win this match for the team. And I think that creates a great atmosphere for everybody, because then everybody's just fighting for the team and not just for themselves. So I think the family aspect is great and you all become so close.
Cool. And here's a big question. Here's just like an extra big one for you. But obviously, you've done the whole individual thing. I know that you've obviously played team tennis in London and done like group stuff before. But what do you prefer? Do you have a preference between doing like the individual stuff like you've done here or the team stuff over there? Because there's obviously like pros out there that prefer the team over the individual. Like, for example, Kyrgios prefers doing like the Davis Cup, the Laver Cup. Do you have a preference, or would you say it's 50-50?
I think when I was younger, it was probably the individual was better for me and I enjoyed doing it for myself. But I think now I've come and experienced college tennis and been on a team, I actually prefer the whole team atmosphere. And I think it would be difficult now that probably my junior career is over and I'm here at college tennis. I think it would be not difficult, but I don't think I would enjoy going back to playing an individual tournament back home, because I've got so into the zone of playing for a team and fighting for my team. And just that feeling that when you win your match, you've put something towards the team to win that whole match. So I think it's a better feeling. And I've just become more in that team environment. And I really do enjoy the whole college tennis experience much more than individual. And it's sort of given me that love for the sport back. Because I think when you've been playing for so long back home, like in the individual atmosphere, it becomes not boring, but I think you do lose a bit of fight and love for the sport. So coming over here and having that completely different experience on a team, fighting for the team, doing everything for the team, I think it's given me that love back for the sport and actually showed me how much I do enjoy fighting and playing the sport, really.
I guess like this experience or this kind of different outlook on tennis was fresh, maybe something that you needed. But yeah, I guess it's great to have the experience of both, and you've taken a few different paths or had different experiences, and yeah, and then you can see which one you prefer. Do you enjoy playing doubles?
I do enjoy playing doubles. I mean, it's probably a bit, it's not my go-to. I'm definitely a more singles player and I definitely enjoy playing singles a lot more. But I think coming to America and playing doubles is such a big aspect of the points and the matches. I've come to enjoy doubles a lot more and I've learned more about doubles, because I think back home we don't really get taught exactly how to play and the right way to play. So coming over here, I think it's given me that extra experience and I've actually started to really enjoy playing doubles more than probably I did in my junior career. But I'm definitely more in my comfort zone playing singles,
Hmm.
but I've definitely enjoyed playing doubles, and I really enjoy playing doubles over here.
So I think to sum up that question alone, you feel more satisfied, like maybe when you win a match or something that you've won it, not just for yourself, but for so many other reasons. Maybe that just feels more like fulfilling, or you've achieved more than just a win at a tournament for
Yeah.
yourself. Yeah, cool. What is the difference between your college tennis experience, your current one, and your junior slash high school tennis experience?
Um, I'd say I definitely enjoy this experience a lot more. I think when I was probably younger, maybe up to 14, 16, I would probably really enjoy tennis and I loved competing. But I think when you've been doing it for so long and you're going to the same tennis centers, you're playing the same people, you know who's going to win this match and who's going to win that match probably. And you're just playing the same people. And I think it just gets a bit repetitive after a while. So coming over here, I don't know, when I first got here, I didn't know any of the players. I didn't really know how anything really worked. It was all different. And now I've experienced it. I get so much joy and so much thrive out of playing college tennis. I just get a different buzz really from winning a match compared to I've never really experienced that sort of joy when playing in my junior career. So I definitely think I enjoy this atmosphere and this way of playing tennis a lot more than junior tennis back home.
Hmm. Um, cool, cool. I like it. What was the toughest part? This is slightly different to like what we've already been talking about, but I think it's great for juniors and for players who are looking to, recruit or even think about, um, this is an option for them when they finish sixth form or college. So, what was the toughest part of the recruiting process for you?
I think for me, you don't really know what you know sort of what you're getting yourself into, but you don't know exactly what you're getting yourself into. So I think the hardest part for me was sort of what questions do I ask? Is this place going to be right for me? You don't know what you want until you sort of get here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I think starting the process early, I would definitely recommend. I started the process quite late, and I was lucky enough to find the perfect fit for me in the short amount of time. But I would say if you don't find that perfect fit in a short amount of time, you could be rushed and end up going to the wrong place. So I would definitely recommend starting the whole process early, which I didn't do. And I would definitely maybe speak to people who are already at college tennis or have been through the whole process because you don't really know what to expect. And you're getting told all these things. Do you want a big campus? Do you want a small campus? Class sizes, practice schedule, the type of coach you want. But I don't think you really know them answers until you get there and experience it yourself. So I think talking to people and asking questions, don't be afraid to ask a question because I didn't have any idea really what to expect. And I guess everybody else don't really have an idea what to expect because no one's done it. So I think definitely starting the process as early as possible, speaking to as many people you can about college tennis so you can understand if you would like that, if you wouldn't like it, and just ask questions really. That would be my main tips for anyone that's looking to be recruited.
And just like adding on that, we all know there's loads of players, that we've known personally as well, that either or go one of two routes. They go to like a highly ranked school or higher division, and sometimes they don't play and they're just practicing. And then you've got some players who want to play the matches, want to get the most out of the experience, want to feel like they've contributed to the win or the matches, etc. What would you advise there? Which one would you choose, or which one did you choose? The one where you go to a high division and don't play, or you go to a slightly lower division and you contribute often.
Yeah, I think for me, I mean, some people might mind not playing the matches and just cheering and supporting. But I think a big thing for me is I wanted to get literally the full experience, and I wanted to be part of the team, and I wanted to contribute in all the matches possible. So I think I definitely went down the Division Two route because I knew I'd be able to play in all the matches, and I would be able to get everything out of it that I could. And also, going to a division school, you have so many opportunities to be nationally ranked as a singles player or a doubles player, or your team getting nationally ranked in the top 25. I just think just because it's a Division One, or it doesn't matter what division you go to, as long as it's the perfect fit for you. And when you get there, you're going to enjoy it 100%. I think that's just the main thing. If you don't mind not playing, then that's completely good. I think it's just getting the right fit for you and making sure that you have the best 4 years college experience you can, because it literally flies by. And I'm in my third year now, and it's literally seems like I've just got here. So if it's going that quickly for you and you're enjoying it that much, then it definitely is the right fit for you.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's important, like me asking with either of those routes to someone who is currently, out there in America, and, depending on the route that you took, or, if you weren't getting the most out of this route, would the other route have been better? Obviously, you're one of the best people to ask about that. So that's interesting to know. Definitely to, if you're, like you said, if you're enjoying it, then that's perfect for you. And I think with it being in, a different country, somewhere so far away for you, you have to be as comfortable or having as much fun as you can, right?
Yeah, and I definitely think I've been able, going down the Division Two, I've probably been able to be much more successful as an individual as possible. I've been able to get things like, luckily, been able to get things like Player of the Week and first team singles, second team doubles rankings. And I think that adds to your experience even more, because I could have gone to a Division One school and maybe not played, or maybe been towards the bottom of the lineup and not been able to achieve things like that. So I think things like that just for me make my experience a lot better. I can say I was able to do this with the team and was be able to get nationally ranked, but I also did this on my own, sort of thing. So I've been able to get two things out of the whole experience, really.
The best of both worlds.
Exactly.
For you, yeah. Nice. Okay. So our last one is, what piece or pieces of advice do you have for recruits or people who are thinking about, this pathway?
I think the first thing that I would think about is, are you a team player? Because coming to college tennis, team comes first, team above self all the time, no matter what. If it's in a match, practice, it doesn't matter what situation. Once you come to college tennis, it's team above self. So I think if you enjoy just being an individual and sort of not being part of a team, then college tennis probably isn't the best route for you. But if you're ready to be part of a team and not put yourself first, then college tennis is definitely the place for you. So I think that would be the first bit of advice I would give to recruits.
Yep.
Do you want to be part of a team and put them first? The other advice, definitely start the recruiting process as early as possible, really, because then you give your chances of finding the right school. Whereas if you give it a short gap, you're going to shorten that chance of finding the best school for you. So I definitely start the process and start looking and speaking to coaches as early as possible, really. And thirdly, I would just make sure you know sort of what you want before you start speaking to coaches and different universities, because that can narrow it down to where you want to go. So like placement you want to be, where you want to be in America, maybe what sort of coach you're looking for, because the coach makes a massive difference and you need to be happy with the coach to be there for the whole 4 years. So there's so many little things that you probably don't even think about, like class size. Are you happy with there being loads of students in one class, or would you prefer a smaller class where you get to know the professor better, have a better relationship with them, be able to get more help? Do you want to be on a smaller campus where you can walk to class, or do you want to be on a slightly bigger campus? I think there's so many little things that people don't really think about when choosing a university. So I'd say just gain as much information and doing as much research as possible before even starting the process, really.
Mm-hmm. And I remember that your first like sit down meeting. We were at Sutton Tennis Academy with Stars and Stripes, and it was me, you, and Dad sitting there, and it was quite mind boggling because to hear the questions like you've mentioned. Do you want to be in somewhere hot? Do you want to be, where there's loads of shops or etc. It was, wasn't expecting to hear questions like that thrown at you, essentially.
Yeah.
So I think that's great. That's great advice for everyone looking, to maybe go, or people that have started the recruitment process already, because that can really help them get it right, or as best as possible as well.
Yeah, I think it's really important because 4 years is a long time if you don't enjoy where you're at. If you enjoy where you're at, the 4 years absolutely fly past. So it is really important to get that right placement and have every single little thing right for you. And everyone's different. So everyone's going to have a different opinion on everything. So I think that is really important to get everything right. So you can have the best. You only get 4 years. So you need to make it count and get to the right place for you, really.
Mm-hmm. And last thing, just to add, obviously you came back a little bit earlier before the national lockdown in London and when the second lockdown started. So can you just quickly explain like what will happen? Will you get any extra time out in America? Like, will you be paid it back? Can you just talk about that quickly?
Yeah, so with the season getting cut last year, we have been given an extra COVID year. So that does mean I have an extra year on board. So after this semester, I will have luckily another 2 years. I would have only had one more year. But I luckily have got 2 more years left, which I'm super happy about because it just means I get to compete for another 2 years really and let this experience go on probably a little bit longer than it should have done. But I'm super happy about that because as I've said, these 3 years have absolutely flew by and it does seem like I only got here a couple of months ago.
Mm-hmm. And lastly, just before we wrap this up, what happens when the 4-year playing experience in college comes to an end? Is there any other opportunities out there that you can follow?
Yeah, so there is a GA, which means graduate assistant, really. So you're the graduate assistant tennis coach of a program, which we luckily have right now. Catty Weymouth, who went to Furman D1 school. So at the moment, we luckily have her on board, which is amazing, really. We have so much information thrown at us. She has so much experience and she can teach us so much more and give us the experience she has. So I think that would be maybe something I would be looking into, to be a graduate assistant at another school and so that would mean I could get my master's on top of my undergrad. So that is an option for me. I'm not sure if I definitely want to do it, but it is a great opportunity to be an assistant coach and give your experiences that you've had onto players that are going through it right now.
Cool. So at least, you can still do more and you can still continue education a little bit longer as well. Yes, you just get a little bit extra. Cool. Well, good stuff. That was a good first interview that I've done. So that's a wrap. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
On my player interview, Gemma. And to you guys at home watching, viewing, be sure to tune in for my next episode, which hopefully I'll be recording, interviewing soon. And I wish you, Gemma, all the best. Obviously, we're missing you a lot at home, but obviously we'll see you soon. And all the best to the viewers, of course. Stay safe.
Thank you for watching.
Pleasure. Thank you, and all the best.